Hello guys, in this video we will talk about Solana. What is Solana? Solana is a public open source blockchain that supports smart contracts, including non-fungible tokens, and a variety of decentralized applications. Native to Solana's blockchain is the Sol token, which provides network security through staking as well as a means of transferring value. Solana was created in 2017 by Anatoly Yakovenko alongside current Solana board member and Chief Operations Officer Rai Gokal. Yakovenko, now a Solana Labs CEO, came from a background in system design and wanted to apply his knowledge toward a new blockchain paradigm that enabled faster processing speeds. The founders aimed to create a brand new blockchain that could scale to global adoption. At the time, blockchain transaction speeds were limited to around 15 per second. Throughput that paled in comparison to Visa and MasterCard's ability to process roughly 65,000 transactions per second. Yakovenko and Gokal sought to make a new blockchain that could meet demand at a global scale. Solana now boasts a theoretical peak capacity of 65,000 transactions per second and has become one of the most highly used blockchains today due to its speed and cheap transaction costs. Like almost any blockchain system today, Solana is still very new and not without controversy. Solana's blockchain. Solana runs on a hybrid protocol of proof of stake and a concept Solana calls proof of history. Proof of stake is an algorithm that lets a blockchain maintain accurate information across all of its participants. Proof of stake. With proof of stake, cryptocurrency owners pledge or stake their coins to a validator. A validator is a computer running the blockchain's software with its own copy of the blockchain. These validators are the equivalent of miners in a proof of work blockchain like bitcoins. Instead of competing with other computers to complete complex puzzles, like in proof of work, validators are chosen to add the next block of transactions based on how large their stake is, how long they have staked for, and a number of other criteria. The idea is to measure the level of commitment network participants have and reward them for the dedication. The larger the stake relative to circulating supply, the more decentralized and secure the network becomes. What is proof of history? Proof of history is a method for proving that transactions are in the correct sequence and found by the right leader. Solana's blockchain is broken into slots or periods of time where a validator ingests transactions and produces a block. In this system, leaders are chosen ahead of each slot in order to save time. A node or validator is chosen to be a leader of a slot through the proof of stake mechanism based on the quantity of Solana held. Each validator is responsible for continuing a count or tally of the passage of time, known as a proof of history sequence, and the next block of transactions for the slot they have been chosen for. How proof of history works. First, validator A is assigned to slot 1 and spends 5 seconds finding the next block. Validator B is assigned slot 2 and takes 5 seconds to find the following block, amounting to the passage of 10 seconds. Third, validator C is assigned to slot 3 and takes 5 seconds to find a block. By the end, a total of 15 seconds have passed. It takes each validator the same amount of time to complete this process. We know validator C is assigned to slot 3, and because each block takes the same amount of time, we know that slot 3 should only begin at the 10-second mark. Therefore, validator C cannot start before or after the tally has reached 10 seconds. Because this tally of the passage of time can be seen by all validators and the slot leaders are chosen ahead of time, everyone knows when a leader is supposed to begin. If there were a fourth validator chosen as the leader for slot 4, all parties would know that validator D is only allowed to begin at the 15-second mark. Why use proof of history? This system lowers latency and increases throughput because slot leaders can stream transactions to the rest of the validators in real time rather than waiting to fill an entire block and send it at once. As validators keep the count of time, they can stamp each incoming transaction with a time or a proof of history value, so the other nodes can order transactions within a block correctly, even if they aren't streamed in chronological order. The other nodes can then verify these transactions as they come in rather than having to review an entire block of transactions at once. What makes Solana different? Solana parts ways with other blockchains in the way consensus is formed among the nodes. While proof of history has its benefits, there are some concerns around Solana's voting mechanism and whether or not it causes centralization. With Solana, nodes must vote on blocks and their transactions' legitimacy in order for them to become part of the chain. Nodes send votes to the leader, and the leader is then responsible for tallying the votes themselves and signing off on the block. In a typical blockchain, validators are chosen via proof of stake. They then create the next block of transactions and broadcast this to all the other nodes in the network. The rest of the network then audits the new block against their version of the ledger. Each node then checks its version of the ledger and the new block against all other nodes in the network. From here, nodes individually choose whether to agree that this new block is legitimate or not. The process continues until a majority of nodes have agreed on one new version of the chain. While it is time-consuming, letting nodes come to an agreement without an intermediary tolling votes has been core to decentralized blockchains since Bitcoin was created. Let's end this video. Goodbye.